everybody, just wanted to do a quick first impressions video on Warhammer 40k Eternal Crusade, because I've seen the reviews for this and it's very mixed, and I just wanted to throw out my 2 cents. I mean, this isn't going to be a full review or anything like that, it's just going to be first impressions. I've been playing this for a couple of hours, and you know what? I kind of like this game. I mean, it's certainly not the best, it has a long way to go before it's, you know, great, I would call it, but I mean, this game is definitely fun. There's, you know, a good selection of weapons, there's a good variety of customization. I mean, it's not the best, but it's also not the worst. There's 4 factions you can play as: Space Marines, Orcs, Eldar, and Chaos. They all play differently to each other. There are similarities, but they still play different enough for, you know, it's not just a reskin of a same old faction. There's currently PvP and co-op. Both are pretty fun. There's some balancing issues with the game that I have, like the Chaos Space Marine auto cannons, like 3 shots and you're done. It's or the Orc Power Claw. I mean, just some balancing things that need to be worked out in this game, but I mean, it is still early access. There's a pretty good amount of, you know, customizing your own loadouts. It's not just, oh, you know, I'll just slap on that gun, and it's just, you know, like Battlefield. It's like, oh yeah, I can use the M416 or something that's exactly like it. And it's just, you know, it's not like that in this game. You know, bolters, plasma guns, melta guns, you know, they all play differently to each different playstyle that you want. The co-op is pretty fun in this. I mean, it definitely needs way more work. Mainly, it just needs more maps. It's, you know, Space Marines versus Tyranids. I'd love to see like Orcs versus Imperial Guard, or Eldar versus Necrons or something. You know, that'd be cool. And you know, it's a pretty fun game. I wouldn't say it's worth $60. I wouldn't say that at all. I would say it's worth around $20 to $15. You'll definitely get your money's worth out of that much content. But it's just really nice to see a Warhammer game that plays somewhat similar to, I don't know, Gears of War or Mass Effect. It is a third-person cover-based shooter, but I mean, nobody really uses cover, so that's why I call it more like Gears of War. And for those of you in your PC master race that don't know what Gears of War is, you know, put down your mouse and keyboard, pick up a controller, and go play Gears of War. It's a great trilogy. Well, I guess it's not a trilogy anymore, it's a series. I've yet to play the 4th one, but still. It's pretty fun. The controller support for this game is actually very well done. I actually like the controller scheme more than I like the mouse and keyboard. Simply because the melee in this on mouse and keyboard is pretty weird, and I've tried changing it up, and it just never felt right to me, but in the moment I picked up a controller, it actually went pretty well for me. But as you can see in the background footage, I'm just throwing in some co-op here right now, and co-op in this game is not easy. It's not just mindlessly run around and slay bots. Like, there's a good amount of teamwork that has to go into it. I like to go with what I call my Paladin class, which is Sword and Board, even though I'm just with Power Axe here. But I mean, you really gotta watch out for your teammates, because I mean, they love to shoot the shit out of you. But I mean, like, you can't all just run around and be gunning things down. You can't go lone wolf. You gotta stick with your team, or be very confident in your own abilities, because these Tyranids will swarm you and kill you. And it's just really, you need an apothecary or a healer that knows his shit. Is definitely on the ball, and this guy was definitely on the ball. I don't know, this kind of went from first impressions to let's talk about this. I got a lot more footage than I thought I would need. But I mean, it's pretty fun. The Space Marines, they feel right. I mean, they're not the fastest, they're kind of big and clunky, like, you know, you feel like they would. The weapons do massive amounts of damage, but they're not very quick, while Eldar, on the other hand, are very squishy, but so fucking fast and hard to hit. Orcs are kind of like in between. Their weapons don't do the most damage with their ranged weapons, but then again, they're not super squishy, and it just works out. I would say Chaos and Space Marines are a little too similar for me. But I mean, So I mean, this has been my first impressions of Warhammer. I plan on doing like a full review later when I unlock like the elite classes and get everything going. But just for now, just for playing this for 3 hours, I definitely got my money's worth. I mean, I did pick up this game for $5 though, so if you can pick this game up for a relatively cheap price, I would say it's definitely worth it. It does need some work, like I said, but it's enjoyable, it's fun, and that's not something we've had from Warhammer games for a little while. So, hope you all enjoyed this or found it helpful in any way, and I'll see you all next time.